Good morning. It is Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. I am 27 years old. And I've got my morning espresso. In the last video diary thing that I did, I used the blue version of this. And now I have the pink one, and it has a little saucer with it. All of the ones in the set have a saucer, but yesterday I did not use a saucer for my espresso. Today I'm feeling fancy, and it's kind of nice too because when the espresso cup is hot, I can just carry it from the saucer. So I have my espresso going. I might actually take a little sip of that before I really get into it. Whew. This morning, I woke up thinking about college because I'm well beyond college now. I'm 27. I'm done with that. I've been done with it for years. But if you take a look at my sweatshirt, this is what made me think about college because I threw this on this morning. I went to Campbell. I just recently found this sweatshirt at a thrift store. My boyfriend actually discovered it, and he just pulled this, he looked at this sweatshirt that was bright orange, and he just kept on moving, and I was like, what is that? And I looked at it and I was like, oh, I went to college there. And he was like, oh my God. And I was like, I might get that. Something like this, if you buy it at the college campus store, it's going to be $50 or more. I don't know. This stuff is kind of pricey. And then I found it at a thrift store and it's really good quality. So I was like, maybe I will reclaim this college experience and make it, I don't know, buying this sweatshirt felt kind of symbolic for me. Probably because rewind all the way back to 2017. I graduated high school. I was in a relationship at the time with a boy who I had met in school, and we were going into college kind of together. Well, we were going into college together. I went to a community college for the first 2 years to get my associate's degree. And that was fine. The community college was really close to where I lived with my parents. So I was just driving 10 to 15 minutes to school every day. That was fine. It was what it was. I didn't really have the best college experience, which we're getting into right now. I didn't really I didn't make any friends, okay? Embarrassing, I know. Now, a lot of people go to college and have the best experience and make all sorts of friends, or they might even meet their life partner in college, and I did not have that experience. First 2 years, I was in a community college, and I really, at the time, was attached to my boyfriend. We were pretty codependent on each other. I was really young. He was really young. We were both just young and naive and attached at the hip. So if I could help it, if I had anything to say about it, he and I were going to be in the same sort of classes together. I didn't want to go through college alone. I didn't feel very strong and secure in myself. I was pretty dependent on him. And because we were in the same going for the same sort of degree, we were able to get in some of the same classes together. And also the first 2 years of college, you're taking so many gen ed classes. So we purposely signed up for similar classes. And that was how the first 2 years of college was. It wasn't bad, but it just... Also, during that time, I kind of had a falling out with two of my closest friends. And so I was extremely codependent on my boyfriend, my ex, because I didn't have anyone else. I mean, I had my family, thank God. My family has just always been there. so solid and dependable, reliable, but I didn't really have any. I didn't feel like I had my friends anymore, and that really sucked, and that was so hard. And then after the first 2 years of college, I transferred to Campbell University. Go Camels. I'm cringing because like I just did not have the typical college experience. I am not the typical college kind of gal who was like joining a sorority or joining groups or going out and partying or anything like that. No. I'm just not your typical college girl. So I transferred. I transferred to Campbell, and guess who transferred with me? My ex. I had thought about going to Campbell. I remember this vividly, that this was more of my decision and desire because I didn't know where else I wanted to go to school. I had a friend who was at Campbell, although we weren't really friends at the time. So that was kind of hard, but I had already kind of thought about Campbell. I liked the idea of it being a little bit further from where I lived, so I was planning to make the leap and live on campus somewhere, which in my experience was a little hard and tricky going from a community college, transferring to a university, and then like living on campus kind of midway through your college experience, because at that point, people who are your age typically have been there since like their first year, and they all are friends with each other. And you kind of feel like the new kid on the block. And I talked to people in some of my college classes. It's not like I was just like, not talking to anyone, but I didn't really make any friends, and that's fine. I was going through it. I felt like I had lost my friends. I was going into living on campus, just being like, I'm going to gain more independence and I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to challenge myself in this way, because typically I wouldn't do something like that. I would stay home with my parents and maybe commute or whatever. But I was like, I'm going to live on campus. I'm going to do this thing. And then my ex also was entertaining the idea of Campbell. So we ended up kind of just going together. Again, codependent. So I move in on campus. I get in this like dorm that's like kind of nice because I wasn't technically sharing a dorm room with someone. I had a private little room within a shared space, and there were a few other girls in there with me. So we like shared bathrooms, but like that was kind of nice. I did not connect with any of my dorm mates, any of my roommates. I think part of why I had such a rough college experience was I was so lost and insecure and sad. Like I was sad because I didn't really have my close friends anymore. We had a falling out, which, spoiler alert, we reconnected and we're close again. Hallelujah. But back then we were not friends with each other. We were not tight, and I didn't have my girls anymore, and that sucked. I was also very codependent on my ex, and if I had to do things without him, I felt so like lost. Like going on campus, walking around by myself, I was just like a little tiny fish in a very big ocean and feeling so like helpless and lost. I was also struggling with my weight at the time. I had already gained quite a bit of weight, and then even after, like as I was graduating college, the few years after, I don't know the timeline, but it was like when I was graduating college around that time, I was gaining even more weight, and I was really unhealthy and unhappy with myself. I was very insecure. So going to live on college campus alone, with my ex being there, but like I was alone, it was daunting. And at that time too, because I was so insecure, I was extra shy and introverted. I have had a history of being shy. Okay. Like when I was a little girl, I was pretty shy, not like debilitating, but like I'd be kind of shy. Like my parents would be talking to like other adults and they'd be like, "This is my daughter, Jordan." And I'd be like, "Hi," like try like kind of hiding behind my mom. I was just a little shy. Um, and I am introverted. But just because you're introverted doesn't mean you have to be shy. I don't believe that. I think being introverted is just that like you need alone time to reset and feel like yourself. And sometimes I think a lot of introverts thrive in smaller social interactions. Like my mom, for instance, I'm like this and my mom is like this. I feel like my sister might be like this. We thrive in environments where we're socializing with just one or two people, maybe. Small social groups. Anything more than that in a really big group, we're just kind of like quiet and observing. That's me. Yeah, I'm just quiet and observing because I'm like, I don't know. I can feel reserved and a little shy in really big group environments. So I think it was just like exacerbated by me being overweight and extremely insecure in my body. I felt like no one would really want to be friends with me. I had such low self-esteem. I never really put myself out there. I didn't have that confidence to like go talk to people. I might have more of that confidence now because I feel more insecure. I feel more secure in myself and I have aged some. And I think there is a difference between like 20 and 27. I'm still me, but I have grown quite a bit since then and matured, and I feel more secure in myself now. So I think that's part of what made college so hard. And that semester that I lived on campus, I talked to some people in my classes, but some people in like I had to take like a physical education class, and a lot of people in that were younger than me because I was a transfer student. It just was like I was in an awkward position, I think. And I remember this one girl in this gym class who was younger than me. I think she was a first year, and we kind of bonded. When we would had to do physical activity and like walk around and stuff, we would walk together, and she was sweet, but I just felt so out of place. And I felt like I wasn't really making strong connections with anyone. And then, so I move in onto campus probably in like August. I don't know what month that was. Probably in August. And a few weeks later, in September of that year, my ex dumped me. So I'm on college campus for the first time in my life, living outside of my parents' house. I have no friends. It sounds so sad. That's the state that I was in. I had no friends. I was overweight and unhappy and insecure, and my boyfriend dumped me. I didn't see it coming. I was so naive to think that we were going to like work out, and I've always had this desire to get married, have a husband, have kids. Ever since I can remember, I've always had this desire. And whenever I went into any sort of relationship, which I only really had a couple, I was pretty like marriage focused and like, okay, I'm dating because one day we're going to get there and we're going to get married. So that's where my head was at. I had been dating this guy. I don't know when we started dating. Um, I don't know. I think we had been dating for almost 3 years. I don't think we had hit the 3 year mark, but we had been dating for like a couple years. And I know maybe that's not that long in the grand scheme of things, but it felt like a long time for me at that age. And I was like, we're going to get married and we're going to have babies and this is going to be amazing. And then he dumped me and I was like, whoa, pump the brakes. I didn't see this coming at all. I didn't know that was even an option. I didn't know that was an option for us to break up, especially after we just both moved to the same college campus together, which honestly is a pretty small campus. Like, some colleges are huge and you may never interact with or see people. Like, I would have never, if I'd been on a different college campus, I might have never really seen him if it was bigger and whatever. No, same college campus that was really small, or like relatively small. And we were in the same school on campus. Like, we were both going for the same sort of degree. So we were going to see each other and we were in some of the same classes. Imagine you get dumped and then the next day you have to go to class and sit in the same room, if not right next to your ex. There was one class I vividly remember. I think we had like already had these like assigned seats. It was like where you sat, you needed to stay seated at, and you couldn't move. I go in and I have to sit directly next to my ex. Freshly heartbroken. Oh, that was like the weirdest feeling. I remember sitting down and not speaking to him, and he was right next to me. And I was like, this is the worst and strangest feeling of like, I had been so comfortable with this person. We were friends before we ever dated. Now we're not even speaking to each other. It's like I am invisible to him. But we both know that we have this history, and we both know that we just broke up. And now I have to sit next to you? I have to sit next to you and act normal? In my last video diary that I did, I talked a lot about journaling, and I talked about how much this heartbreak sent me on a spiral into journaling and writing my little heart out all the time. So I remember vividly in that class when that happened, I had to sit next to him. I honestly felt like I kind of dissociated and I wasn't really fully there. And I angled my journal in such a way that he could not read it. And I was kind of like leaning over and I was just writing. And I was like, this sucks. And I'm heartbroken. And I have to sit next to this guy. I don't even know if I kept all of those things, because I think some of what I wrote was in like these college notebooks that I used to take notes. I remember that. I remember just writing because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how else to process those emotions. So that was like, I don't know, halfway into that semester, or like almost halfway. And at that point, I could not just like dip. I couldn't just go to online classes. I had to finish that semester. Seeing my ex all the time and whatever. I think though, I met with someone at the school. I vaguely remember this. I don't know who it was. Maybe like the dean or something. I met with someone and my parents were there and we asked what we could do. And they were able to actually change some of my classes, I think. They were like the same sort of classes but different time slots. And I just switched certain classes so that I didn't have to be in the same room as my ex. And thank God that was helpful. But I had to finish the whole semester before making any other decision about what I wanted to do. And I felt like a ghost, just like haunting the hallways, floating around campus. I was just struggling in so many ways. It was like the heartbreak. The heartbreak was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, literally. No, because I'd already been struggling. I'd already felt like I lost my friends. And then I was really struggling with my self-esteem and thinking so lowly of myself. I was struggling with like depression. And then add a heartbreak on top of that. Oh, it's like the cherry on top. It just like sent me into a full spiral. And I survived. I survived that semester. I was crazy. I was even entertaining going back the next semester to live on campus. But at the last minute, I decided against that. So I finished that semester living on campus. And then I was like, I'm transferring to the online school and I'm not doing this. I'm not living on campus. I'm moving back home. And that was like kind of sad for me at the time because I felt like I was conceding or like it was a defeat in some way. Like he's going to keep living on campus. And I had also, listen, I'm spilling some tea right now, but I had also discovered very soon after we broke up that he had started dating someone else. So I was going to leave campus and he was going to remain on campus with his new girlfriend. And my old friend that she was still thriving and living on campus that went to that school. So I was just like, these people are going to keep on living there and living their best lives and whatever. And I am moving back home with my parents after trying to take the leap and moving out and that failing. So I moved back home, which ended up being the best decision for me. I did not want to be on campus anymore. It was hard for me. And I decided to stay home and do online school for the rest of my college career. And it was kind of at the perfect timing because that semester started January of 2020. So I switched to online school right before COVID hit. So then everyone had to go home anyway. So I was just early. I was just an early adopter to online schooling by a couple months. So I finished my college career online, doing stuff from home, and then I started working with my sister part-time, and that was like work from home kind of work too. So I just was able to do school and work from my computer at home, and it did feel really hard at first to be like, I moved on campus. Like we got all this stuff for me to live on campus, like bedding and all these things to put in my dorm. And then like it only served me for one semester. And then I kind of had to get rid of everything. And it was just like, I think I probably dealt with some embarrassment around that. Excuse me. But to be honest, I don't know. I didn't feel that embarrassed by it because it felt like it was unfortunate, but that this was the natural next step for me was to just move back home. And my parents were all for it. And, you know, my family just wanted me to be okay. And at least I could kind of gain back my strength and myself and grow from home instead of having to live somewhere else. So I finished my college career online and that was fine. Because I had such a strange college experience of like community college, and then I was only at Campbell for 2 years, and even then I only lived on campus for one semester. It was just like I didn't feel attached to like some people feel attached to their college. Like some people are very proud of where they went to school, and they're like, when they reflect on college, it's like the glory days, and they had so much fun, and they met friends, and they had relationships and whatever. I just did not have that sort of experience to warrant me feeling so connected to my college. So at some point, I remember having, I had an old Campbell sweatshirt, like it was new to me. I got it when I was in college, like probably the first semester when I moved there. I got a Campbell hoodie. Eventually I got rid of that. I don't have that. I don't know where it is. I probably just was like, I don't want this anymore. Like that was kind of the experience that I had where I just started feeling kind of bitter. I was dealing with some bitterness because I think in some respect I was kind of a little bit jealous of the people who had really good college experience. I was kind of jealous of my friend who went to Campbell her first year and had this whole college experience and had a really great time and made connections. She found her husband there. Like she had a great college experience, and some people do. And I was kind of jealous of that. Like my ex found his girlfriend who would soon be his wife. He found a connection at college that I didn't, and I felt like I felt like college was so tumultuous for me that I got kind of angry and bitter. And I was kind of like, I remember at some point just having a very bad attitude towards people who had good college experiences, like almost feeling like I was better than them, like they were lower than me. Because, like, you had a good college experience, like, who cares? Like, I totally had that attitude at some point because I was kind of jealous. I was jealous of what they had experienced that I hadn't experienced. I had had such a hard time. I had lost friends and been overweight and gotten dumped, and like it was the worst. It was the worst experience for me. But I remember when I got freshly heartbroken, my dad said, and he would continue saying over and over again, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it was true. And I knew it was true. I knew being heartbroken wasn't going to like kill me, and I would survive it and I would grow. And that heartbreak was actually really pivotal for me. And I did grow a lot from that point. I was so codependent in that relationship, and I eventually became more strong and sure of myself. I don't even want to say independent because I don't know. I don't really strive for independence. I would say in some regards, in some aspects, I am dependent on other people. I'm dependent on my family and my friends and my boyfriend now, like in some regards, you know. But I do feel like I gained this stronger sense of self and who I am and being more confident in that. So it was ultimately good, and it shaped me, and it led me on a different path. Like I had said earlier, I was so in that relationship, and I was so codependent, and I didn't even think breaking up was an option. So it was a blessing in disguise that he broke up with me, and that I was able to go through heartbreak, be molded and shaped by it, grow stronger from it, and then eventually meet my boyfriend now, who is perfect for me and whom I love so much. I would have never met him had I not gotten my heart broken. So it all works out in the end. It always does. But I want to go back to why getting this sweatshirt felt kind of symbolic for me. Maybe symbolic's not the right word, but it just felt kind of important to me. Recently, I went up to Boston with my boyfriend for one of his friends' weddings. And I was able to meet a bunch of his college friends. And it was such a fun experience, and I loved meeting all these people. They were great. And I loved seeing him interact with all these people that he had history with, people that he loves and that love him. And it was like, it wasn't really at the top of my mind that weekend, but I think after I got back, I was just, and I found this at the thrift store. It kind of like hit for me that like, just because someone has a good college experience doesn't mean anything against me. It's like my boyfriend had a pretty good college experience. He made some connections that he's still kind of connected to today. So much so that we went to a wedding for these people that he knows and loves. And that was so special for me. And I felt like, I felt kind of like grafted into their friend group, and just by proximity, just by me being in relationship with my boyfriend. And that felt nice. And I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's almost like when I was in college, I didn't make friends. I didn't really have any connections from that. I had a really poor, sad, depressing college experience. And it almost felt like a little blessing, a little gift from God to be like, here's a boyfriend, here's your man who had a good college experience and is going to bring you up to meet them and is going to kind of pull you into this little friend group. And it's not like they talk all the time and it's not like they see each other all the time because all these people kind of live in other places now, but I know I'll see them again someday. And that's kind of special. That's something that I didn't have. I didn't make friends in college. I don't have history with people like that. In that sense, like people from college. I just don't. And so I think going up, having that weekend, going to that wedding, getting in with all these people and having such a great time with everyone, I was like, it's okay that my college experience was crazy. It kind of makes for a good story. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I relayed this whole story to my boyfriend's sister the other day. She was visiting and she was just like, oh, like, that's so sad. But I was just like, man, I was like going through this whole story and I don't know what all I told her now that I think about it. But I was going through the gist of it, that like I had had a weird college experience, went to community college, went to a different campus, got dumped, like, and it was such a pivotal and necessary experience for me. And it makes for a good story and I can share that with people. And I don't know how to explain it, but like when my boyfriend found this at the thrift store, I was like, I'm going to buy that and I'm going to wear it. And I'm going to wear that experience with pride. I have since very much healed from my college experience. That kind of wrapped up a few years ago now. But in the years after that, in the few years after I got dumped and I was kind of like grieving that relationship and I was kind of grieving my college experience, being like, man, that was not what I wanted it to be at all. I just lost my train of thought. Oh my God. But I just felt such a bitterness towards my college experience for a while. But over time, I healed from that. And I was like, it's okay. Like, it is what it is. And that experience was good for me to go through. And I learned a lot from it. And I grew from it. Thank God. But I think it was like right after my boyfriend and I got back from Boston that we went to the thrift store and I found this and I was just like, I'm going to wear this and I'm going to own this experience that I had. It's great that my boyfriend had like a good college experience and made friends. And now I get to kind of participate in that. It's like if anyone else gets married, I'll probably go to their wedding too. And like I kind of have these friends as a byproduct of being in a relationship with my boyfriend. I get kind of grafted into their friend group in a way. So I get that. And I also had my crazy college experience and it is what it is and it makes for a good story. And it was a pivotal moment in my life for sure. So ultimately it was good. And even though it was hard, it was good. It was good for me. So buying this, I was like, I'm going to own my experience. And it was crazy and it wasn't a typical college experience and it was hard, but there's also a sign of how strong and resilient I am because that was a hard season of my life. But I got through it and I'm stronger now. Hallelujah. I hope I'm explaining that well. It's kind of hard to explain. Like the connection with like the wedding and going up and meeting my boyfriend's friends I think it makes sense. Hopefully. But yeah, it was just funny. Sometimes the timing of things is interesting. Um, I think before I went up to that wedding, I probably would have, I hadn't thought about, I don't think about college really at all unless someone brings it up or randomly I'll think about it. But I don't think about college. And before going up to that wedding, I would have been fine if I never talked about college or if I never owned a piece of college paraphernalia. I was just like, I'm good. I kind of felt like I closed that door. I'm gonna leave it there. And I still feel like that. I've closed that door. That's a part of my story and my past and move on, you know? But it was like being around my boyfriend's college friends and seeing how fun that group of people is and how they have this history. Some of them hadn't seen each other in years and they're all reunited, and it was so special to be a part of that. And then when I got home, literally, I think it was that day, because my boyfriend and I flew in really early. No, maybe it was the next day. It was the next day. He had a dentist appointment. This is like too much information. He had a dentist appointment and I went with him, and then we went thrifting after. This is like too much information. We went thrifting after, and he found this, and I was like, it just felt like funny, the timing of it. And it almost felt like I was making a statement to myself buying this. I know some people it may not be that deep, but buying the sweatshirt, I was like, I don't have to shy away from that experience and never talk about it. I don't have to feel embarrassed by it. It was hard, but it was a really good experience for me to go through. And it was a hard season of my life, but it was so necessary in shaping me into the person that I needed to become. So I don't know, in a weird way, I felt like I was kind of reclaiming my college experience or something. I don't know. Like, instead of being embarrassed by it and not ever wanting to talk about it, I'm like, I can talk about it and it's a good story. And because I'm so completely healed from it, I can talk about it now with a little bit of humor. It's kind of like that's so far in my past, it feels like a different lifetime. So I don't feel as emotional about it as I did back then. And I can talk about it, and it's kind of funny. It wasn't funny at the time. It was not funny at the time, but yeah. So that was my college experience, and now I have this bright orange crazy sweatshirt that, I don't know, it's like a little hallmark it's just a little reminder, actually. It feels like a little reminder to me of where I've come from, how far I've come, how strong and resilient and capable I am to face hard situations and overcome them and get through them. It feels like a good reminder of that, of like, I conquered that hill. I conquered it. I climbed the whole mountain and I conquered it. Amen. I conquered this hill. So I'm gonna wear this with pride because I'm a conqueror. I'm a conqueror. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm going to go finish my espresso and get to work. And I hope you have a really blessed day and week and month and year and life. Bye.